Okay. Let's have the next slide. So the objectives of this module or this presentation is to understand the concept of linear programming. Next is to understand or determine the essentials of linear programming and formulate an equation associated with linear programming. Okay. Now, first, let us define what is linear programming. So it consists of methods for solving optimization problems with constraints, which is a method used for finding the maximum or minimum value. It is also referred as to linear optimization. So in layman's terms, guys, ang linear programming is used for optimization or improving. Yeah, open na midterm quiz one. So yung linear programming, guys, balik tayo. It is a mathematical field, no, or a field of math that helps business owners and also yung mga may-ari ng mga iba't ibang institution in the world to find the maximum and minimum value of a certain situation. Okay? So, for example, may constraints siya. Involving constraints also, kumbaga yung mga limiters or mga limits, no, of a certain business. So, gagawa ka ng equation kung saan mamamaximize mo ang profit or ma-minimize mo yung cost ng production. That is linear programming. So, yung constraints na sinasabi dyan, yun yung mga limits. Ano ba yun? For example, yung number of workers na nagwo-work sa'yo, kung gaano ba sila ka-efficient. That's one. Siya yung pumipigil or limit ng production mo or kung gaano ka dami ang ma-produce mo and gaano mo kadami ang ma-earn mo or ma-save mong cost of production. Okay? So, gagawa ka ng equation kung saan ma-allocate mo yung resources mo, like yung mga tao mo, yung raw materials, kung saan, and then, yan, na magkakaroon ka ng maximum profit. Okay? So, from that, you can create an equation. So, it is also known as linear optimization. So, it is also defined as the problem of maximizing or minimizing a linear function that is subjected to linear constraints. So, yung mga constraints na yan is yung tao, raw materials, yun, yung mga constraints na yan. Okay, now let's go with the next slide. So these are the essentials of linear programming models. So, okay. So limited resources, objective, linearity, and homogeneity. And divisibility, yung 5. Okay? So what does it mean? So sa limited resources, madali lang yan. Ito yung mga factors or variables that affects your production and also affects your profit and cost of production. So yung labor output and input, yung mga workers itself, yung raw materials, equipments, yung capital, yung finance, may limited number sila, limited resources sila. So from there, no, you can create an equation based on that limitations. So ito lang yung available na material on that company. So gaano ba kadaming products ang i-produce niya to have maximum profit? Okay? Okay. Now, next is objective. Anong purpose ng pag-optimize mo or paggawa ng linear programming model? So it's either you maximize the profit or you minimize the cost. Next is linearity. So for example, sabi dyan, if there is an increase in labor input, for example, nag-hire ka ng or na massive hiring ka ng mga tao for your company, malaking company, ang pinoproduce niya is canned goods. So for example, dumami yung laborers niyo or workers. And from that, we can say, we can assume or dapat yung input ng labor should be proportional to the output. Kung there is an increase in laborers or workers, dapat there is an increase po then sa output. Or for example, nag-hire ka ng ibang workers to make your production more efficient. So dapat yung labor output mo maging more efficient din. So dapat proportional siya, directly proportional. Homogeneity. It is assumed that products, workers' efficiency, and machines are identical. It means na kung gusto mo ng good quality product, dapat yung workers mo efficient and yung machines mo ay working properly and efficient. Okay? So dapat uniform sila. So hindi ka may expect ng product na good quality if hindi efficient yung machine and workers mo. So dapat homogeneous sila. Next is divisibility. So resources and products are assumed to be divided into fractions. So sabihin ng, for example, yung kumpanyang Coke or Coca-Cola. So ito yung consumption ng NCR. Ganito kadaming bottles of Coke ang kinokonsume nila every day. So from that, malalaman mo kung gaano kadaming resources ang gagamitin mo to produce this demand of product. So hahatiin mo siya, ito lang ang demand ng NCR ngayong araw. So ito lang i-produce kong Coke. That's it. Okay? That is divisibility. How would you manage or allocate your resources and products? Now, let's go with properties of linear programming models. So the relationship among the decision variables must be linear. It means that, for example, your first decision is to give your workers incentives when they perform well. If they're performing well. So from that, no, yung next decision mo should be linear or in line with that. So pwedeng i-increase mo yung incentives nila or mag-add ka ng other kumbaga awards or previes sa workers. Next is objective function. Ito yung gagawin nating equation mamaya to solve whether you increase or gusto mong malaman kung how to maximize the profit. Okay? Or how would you minimize the cost of production? So gagawa ka ng mga functions to represent those. So third is constraint. Ano yung mga resources, no? It pertains to the resources, no? For example, yung mga workers, yung raw materials, yung place, yung mga machines, lahat-lahat ng kumbaga factors that would affect the production, the profit, the cost of production ng isang kumpanya. So constraints must be non-negative. So wala naman sigurong -1 na number of semento, number of sako ng semento, number of people, wala naman. So always non-negative. So, walang negative value. Okay? Now, let's dive in deeper. Let's have an example problem. Hindi natin sasagutin yan. Kumbaga, is an example problem para maintindihan natin kung paano ba magagamit yung linear programming. Say you own, so may farm ka daw na 500 square acre. Then, sa farm na yon, pwede kang magtanim ng 3 crop. So, wheat, barley, and corn. So, pwedeng isa-isa or isang variety lang, like wheat, barley, or corn lang itanim mo, o pwede din combination ng 3. So, meron kang limited na resource or resources. Yung fertilizer at pesticide, how would you distribute this? So, kung gaano ba kadaming wheat, barley, and corn ang i-grow mo. Okay? Para maka-maximize ka sa profit na makukuha mo. Then, binigay din dyan kung ilan yung presyo or profit na makukuha per crop. So, sa wheat is $7, sa barley is 3, sa corn is 3.55. So, how much of each crop should you grow to maximize your profit? So, that is an example of linear programming. Ang linear programming, gagawa ka ng equation to compensate with that problem. Okay? Now, let's define further yung linear programming. Again, linear programming is a mathematical tool for maximizing or minimizing a quantity, usually profit or cost of production that is subjected to certain constraints. So, yung raw materials, yung tao, yung number of products na kayang produce, those are constraints. Of all computations and decisions made by management in business, 50 to 90% of those linear program are involved or naka-involve yung linear programming. So, hindi sila gagawa ng decision or computation, no, if not based in a linear programming model. Okay? So, this is the brief outline of our lesson for today. So, short background to linear programming as field of mathematics. So, sinong founder? When established, mixture problems and visible regions. Yung optimal production. So, under that is corner point principle, optimal production policy, Simplex Method, W's in northwest corner algorithm, and various applications. Okay? Okay. Now, let's start with the background of linear programming and also discussions. So, as a field of mathematics, linear programming is still a small child in math years. Compare mo siya sa algebra, sa calculus, so mas bata talaga siya. So, it was created by Leonid Kantorovich around the around the time of World War II. Further developed over the following decades. Today, easily the most commonly used in the field of optimization. So, these are the fields na using linear programming: economics, business management, transportation, technology, planning, and production, and the list goes on and on. Okay? Now, let's go with mixture problems. So what are those? So mixture problems are problems where a limited number of resources are used to produce a combination of products in a fashion that maximizes the profit, the sale of these products. Kumbaga, may given number or quantity of raw material, then and then, what would be the feasible solution o ano yung solution to earn maximum profit? So, gano'ng kadaming product ba ang i-produce based on that material na given? So, that is mixture problems. So, it could be the production of pretty much anything. So, an example of which is skateboard and dolls na i-discuss natin later on the later slides. Okay? So, a mixture problem has a goal to find a feasible solution that maximizes the profit. So, what will our solution look like? So, the mixture problems consist of 5 parts: resources, products, recipes, profit, and objective. Isa-isahin natin yan mamaya. So, under mixture problems, there is what we call the optimal production policy. So, it is a policy giving optimal number of product to produce. So, it gives you an idea kung ano yung the best na number of product na i-produce. So, this is based on how possible to produce this number. So, kung kaya ba ng kumpanya mong i-produce yung product na ito. Next is, ano yung possible options to have maximum profit. So, it gives you the maximum profit option. Okay? Okay. Now, let's have an example. So, example, a toy manufacturer can produce skateboards and dolls, and both require the precious resource of plastic. So, yung dalawang yun need ng resource na plastic. So, yung total na plastic units na available for the toy manufacturer is 60 units. So, skateboards take 5 units of plastic. So, kumbaga, ang material needed to create a skateboard is 5 units. And it would make $1 profit. While yung dolls naman, 2 units of plastic ang gagamitin to produce dolls and make $0.55 of profit. So what is the number of dolls and skateboards the company can produce to maximize the profit? So ang problem dito is ilan ang number of dolls and skateboard to produce para ma-maximize yung profit. Now, what is the first step? Yung parts ng mixture problems is yung 5 parts. So yung resources, lista mo dyan kung ano yung resource. Ano yung gagamiting material? Plastic. Then yung available is 60 units. While yung products is na iproproduce is skateboard and dolls. Then yung recipe is kung ano or kung gaano kadaming plastic units ang gagamitin to create a skateboard and a doll. And dolls. Then yung profits is yung profit per product, $1 and $0.55. And yung objective is to maximize the profit. Okay. Now, after that, sir, anong gagawin? Next is you create a, you create a mixture chart. So, ano yung mixture chart? Zoom in natin. So, yung mixture chart is just a chart or a table that shows the corresponding resource needed to produce certain product and its profit. So, yung skateboard inassign. So, nilet natin na X units. While yung dolls naman is Y units. So, ang kailangan plastic resource sa skateboard para makagawa ka ng skateboard is 5 units, right? Then sa dolls is 2 units based on the problem above. Then yung profit na magigain mo to produce a skateboard is $1. Then yung dolls natin is $0.55. Okay? So after formulating or making the mixture chart, gagawa ka ng dalawang equation. So ito yung mixture chart mo, kinapi mo lang. So gagawa ka ng dalawang equation. Ano yung dalawang equation na yun? Objective equation and yung constraints equation. So yung objective equation is based on the profit equation sa profit column. Ito. While yung constraints naman, obviously, yung resources. So let's start with the objective function. So yung objective function or profit function is nakabase sa profit. So yung total profit P is equals to $1 times X kasi X units ang skateboard. Then 0.55 yung price niya times the units. Kumbaga, itong X and Y is the number of product, each product, number of each product. Ilang skateboards at ilang dolls ang i-produce. That is X and Y. Okay, to gain maximum profit. Next is constraints equation. Naka-base siya sa resources. So 5 times X, meaning ito. So 5 times X units. So 5 units ang kailangan to create a skateboard plus 2 times Y units is less than or equal to 60. Bakit ganito ang inequality ginamit? Kasi kung magsasubstitute tayo ng number of each product dito na na-produce, so dapat yung X dito sa objective equation and constraint is the same. Obviously. So kung mga X and Y dito is consistent. So dapat, no, from the equation, guys, ito, pag i-add up mo yung resources, dapat less than 60 siya or equal to 60. Okay. Hindi siya lalagpas ng 60, of course, no? Kasi yun lang yung limit ng resources mo. So, hindi dapat siya lalagpas ng 60. So, kaya less than or equal to. Yan yung limit. Okay? Any questions on this slide? Naintindihan ba?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, pakimute po. Let's continue. Sure? Okay, mute ko muna. May naka-unmute. After that, no, creating the two equation, let's create a feasible region. So, ano yung feasible region, guys? So, yung feasible region, guys, it is a region which consists of all possible solution choices for a particular problem. As you can see here, the feasible region dyan is yung yellow. Yellow ba yan? Yellow. Ito. So, itong red line, sir, is the, ano yan, sir? Yung red line, ng diagonal. That is the constraint function or equation. So, paano yan plinat, sir? Madali lang yan. But before that, before natin siya i-graph, bakit yung feasible region, sir, is hindi sinali itong negative side? Kasi nga, walang negative number of dolls and skateboards. Ay, baliktad. Skateboards and dolls. Diba, wala naman -2 number of dolls, -3 number of skateboards, so on and so forth. Kaya hindi to sinali. How about this side, sir? Bakit hindi sinali? Kasi kung kukuha ka ng point dito, nalalagpas siya sa feasible region, lalagpas siya ng 60. 60 yung limit mo 60 units. Okay. So after that, tingnan natin paano ba i-plot itong diagonal line na ito. So, iti-treat natin siya as a linear equation. So, imbis ito ang gamitin, palitan ng equals para ma-plot natin. So, that is 5x for the meantime lang muna. Just to get the x and y intercept. It's equals to 60. Okay? Tiin natin. So, let's start with, so letting y equal to 0. Okay, first is 0 natin ang y. So, this is for getting the x-intercept. Then, ang kabila is x is equals to 0. Salitan lang. Y-intercept. Now, substitute lang. 0 mo tong y. So, that is 5x plus 2 times 0 is equals to 60. So, cancel ito kasi 0 yan. That is 5x is equals to 60. Divide both sides by 5. So, that is 12. So, to get the x-intercept, tingnan mo yung x and y. Gagawa ka ng ordered pair. So, therefore, yung x natin is 12. Yung y natin is 0. So, kaya, sa graph na ito, tinat siya dito. So, this is 12, 0. Next is the y-intercept. So, 0 ang x. So, that is 5 times 0 plus 2y is equals to 60. So, cancel ito. That is 2y is equals to 60. Divide both sides by 2. So, y natin is 30. So, yung y-intercept natin, x natin is 0, y natin is 30. So, that is what? 0, 30. Kaya, on the graph, ito yun. So, 0, 30. So, after finding the x and y intercept, no, i-plot mo siya sa Cartesian plane, then connect them with a line. Okay? So, therefore, ito yung function niya or graph niya. Okay? Intindihan? Any questions on this?
Wala po.
Okay, sige.
Wala po.
Okay, naintindihan ha? So, after getting the feasible region, guys, anong gagawin? Paki-mute po. Let's go with the next slide. We will apply the corner point principle. Okay? Wait lang guys, I have to check on something. Balik ako mga 1 minute. And produces shirt in X units and vest into Y units. Okay? So, X units yung shirt ha, remember? So, let X be the shirt, number of shirts. Yung Y is the number of vests. Okay? So, 100 yards lang daw yung resource niya or yung material na gamit. Okay? So, the shirt requires 10 units of cloth and have a profit of $5. While the vest has a required units of cloth, 4 units ang kailangan to create a vest. While ang profit niya is $4. So what is the optimal production solution or ano yung kumbaga suggested na number of vests and shirt na i-produce para makagain ng maximum profit? So let's start, 'di ba dalawa 'yun, objective function. Objective function or equation. And yung isa yung constraints. Now, let's start with the objective function. Yung objective function, nakabase siya sa profit. So, saan yung profit dyan? Ito at saka ito. So, what would be the objective function? Yung total or yung maximum profit? Sige nga, kayo nga. What's the objective function or equation? Gagawa ng equation, guys. What's the equation? Pareha nung kanina. Binase niya sa profit. Tingnan nyo. Yung kikitain niya per product. So, yung X niya dito is yung skateboard, yung Y niya is yung dolls. Now, balik tayo dun. What would be the objective equation based on this? So, sa shirt is, di ba ang shirt is X values, yung vest is Y units. What would be the objective function equation? So, sabi ni Marilyn Taladro, P is equals to 5X plus 4Y. So, $5 times X, which is the number of shirt, yung X. Yung Y naman is the number of vest. $4. No? So, that is correct. Okay? Nasa the total, kumbaga ito yung projected na profit. Now, let's go with the constraint. Yung constraint naman is sa resources. Tama? Paano yung resources? Ilang bang units ang kailangan to produce a shirt? 10 units. While yung sa vest naman is 4 units. Then, ang total or number of units ng cloth na gagamitin material to create a shirt and a vest is 100 yards. So, ano yung constraint equation? Yung may inequality. So, sabi ni John is 10x plus 4y is less than or equal to 100. So, that's correct. Kasi, ang kailangan units to create a shirt is 10 units, then 4 units of vest. Then, minultiply siya, nakadepende sa paglet natin where the number of shirts is X and the number of vests is Y. Okay? So, ito yung equation kasi ang limit natin is 100. So, less than or equal. So, it's either yung addition nito, maglagay ka ng number of shirts sa X and number of vests sa Y, dapat less than siya or equal to 100. Ang limit mo is 100. Now, let's see kung tama yung equation natin. So, first, identify the components. Obviously, yung cloth ang pinaka-main component or resource. Then, yung dalawang products, shirt and vest. Then, 10 units ang gagamiting cloth to create a shirt. 4 units sa vest. Sa profit is $5 per shirt, $4 per sa vest. Then, your objective is to maximize the profit. Next is to create a mixture chart. So, tama. Ito yung constraints function. Equation 1. Equation 2 is the objective function or the profit function. Function and equation the same lang yan. Okay. So, from this, let's erase it all. So, sa dalawang equation na yan, di ba ang next niyan is to create the visible region, yung graphing at saka corner points. Sino ang ipaplat sa Cartesian plane? Si equation 1 or si 2? Sino ba yung plinat natin kanina? So, tingnan natin sabi niyo. So, sa equation 1, yung constraint function. Tama? Okay. So, paano nga iyon i-plot? Sige nga. So, gagawin siyang ano? In terms of linear equation. So, that is 10x plus 4y is equals to 100. So, gagawing equals yung less than or equal to 100. Then, kukunin ang ano? Y is equals to 0, x is equals to 0. Okay? So, this is for the x-intercept. This is for the y-intercept. Now, if i-0 natin si y, so matanggal si 4y. So, matira, 10x is equals to 100. So, divide both sides by 10. So, x is 10. So, yung ordered pair for the x-intercept is 10, 0. Now, next is 0 naman si x. So, matanggal si 10x, ang matira is 4y is equals to 100. So, divide both sides by 4. Y natin is 25. So, yung ordered pair natin dito is 0, 25. Then, plot natin. Okay? Yun. So, yung 0, 25 and 10, 0. Then, i-shade natin. Wait lang. Pakimute pa. So, shade natin siya hanggang sa origin. Then, yung corner points, i-plot natin. So, 0, 25, 10, 0, and 0, 0. Then, after that, anong gagawin? Saan siya yung points na ito, guys, ito. Ang tanong. Yung mga points na ito, yung corner points, saan siya i-substitute? Sa equation 1 or 2? Saan siya i-substitute, guys?
Equation 2 po, sir.
Equation 2. Kasi we are getting the maximum profit na. Very good. Now, if we substitute that, okay. So, tingnan natin if we substitute that. So, guys, from the result, yung tatlong points na yan, sino yung makaka-maximum profit siya? Anong points yon? Sige nga. Si 0, 0, 0, 25, or si 10, 0. Anong points dyan? Yung 0, 25. So, ilang shirt invest ba ang i-produce para makakuha ng maximum profit? Kung yan ang answer. Sige. So, what would be? Ilang shirt invest ba ang i-produce from that answer? Anong answer? Okay? Ilang shirt invest? Yung X units, di ba yung shirt? Then yung Y units naman is, ano? Sige, isa-isayin natin. 0 shirts, sabi ni Kenneth, 25 vests. Very good. So, gawa kayo ng sentence after solving. The company should produce 0 shirt and 25 vests. Okay? What if the company decides to also put a non-zero constraint? So, pag sinabing non-zero, guys, hindi pwedeng mag-zero yung isang value. So, on this point, 10, 0, nag-zero yung vest. On this one, 0, 0. So, walang vest, kumbaga ito yung minimum value. Okay? This one is 0 shirt, 25 na vest. So, sabi dito dapat non-zero. What if the company must produce at least 3 shirts and 10 vests. So, yung minimum natin sa previous slide is 0, 0. So, yung bagong minimum natin na value would be, ano? Yung bagong minimum value natin or yung bagong origin natin. Kasi yung sa kabila, okay lang mag-0 yung vest or yung shirt. Now, hindi pwede. We must follow, no, na dapat makaproduce ang 3 shirt and 10 vests. So, yan na yung minimum. So, ano na yung coordinates ng minimum point? Kumbaga, yung bagong origin. Kaya, diba, ang shirts, anong units niyan? X, ito kay Y. So, what would be the new minimum? Yung origin. Yung X, Y, yung ordered pair. Diba, 0, 0 yung minimum? Sa yung previous slide na walang restriction na at least 3 or 10 vests. 3 shirts and 10 vests. So what would it be? Ano yung ordered pair? Bagong origin. It's 3, 10. So X is for shirt, Y is for vest. 3, 10. 10 vests eh. Okay? So from that, pag sinabing so, kung sa inequality yan guys, ito ang itsura niyan. So, X is greater or equal to 3. Kasi at least nga eh. So, it could be greater than 3 or equal to 3. Then yung sa Y naman, sa Y naman, it could be greater than 10 or equal to 10. Be greater than 10 or greater than 3 or equal to 3 and 10. Yung X and Y. Okay? Now, so yung bago nating origin guys, if we go back, yung minimum, so it means no, sa ganitong problem, non-zero daw guys, non-zero. So non-zero, right? So yung origin natin na bago is mapapalitan. So parang gumawa tayo ng, wait lang, para tayong gumawa ng bagong right triangle, assume na straight yung pagka-drawing ni sir. Gagawa tayo ng bagong right triangle kung saan yung coordinates niya walang zero. Walang partner. It's either X and Y, walang zero. Gagawa tayo ng 3 points. So, yung bagong minimum natin, imbes ito, nagiging 3, 10. So, that's our new coordinate for the, so how would you plot that? Ito. Yun na yung bagong origin. So, zoom in natin. So, paano to nakuha tong 3, 17.5 and 6, 10? By plotting. Click tayo. So, yun yung bagong origin. Paano to na-plot? So, gagawa ka ng straight line, no, na tumagos dito sa bagong origin. Then, you intersect it with the constraint function. Ito. Di ba? Ito yung, itong diagonal na to, yun yung constraint function. Tama? Okay. So from that, no? Kung saan sila nag-intersect, plot mo, then tingnan mo kung anong value ng X and Y nila. So ito, 3. Kasi as you can see, yung 3, 10 at saka itong point na ito, same ang position ng points vertically. So yung sa x-axis nila, same talaga yung value nila. So yung x coordinate ng pangalawang point is 3. Ang problemahin mo na lang is yung y. So sabi dito, 17.5 daw nag-touch ang y niya. Okay? Dito naman, sa third point, no? So gawa ka na naman ng line hanggang mag-intersect siya. So dapat tagusan siya. So dadaan ka sa 3, 10. Tapos tagus mo doon sa or intersect mo sa constraint function. So, plot mo to, tingnan mo kung saan naka-touch ang X coordinate and ng Y coordinate. So obviously, yung horizontal na coordinate niya is the same. So the same ang coordinates niya in terms of Y with the origin, bagong origin. That is 6, 10 by plot. Kumbaga guys, by plotting lang to. Plotting lang based on the given restrictions. So from that, yung tatlong points yun, isa-substitute siya sa profit or objective function. So ang pinaka-optimal is 3, 17.5. So bakit 17 yung ginamit niya, sir? Kasi walang 0.5 na VES. So pag sa economics guys or sa business math, yung 0.5 pababa, i-retain yung number. So imbis maging 18 yung 17. Kasi 0.5 yung decimal niya, retain to 17. Kaya 17 ang ginamit niya dito. Pero pag 17.6 yan, 17.7, so on and so forth. Pag 0.6 pataas, you add 1. So mas malapit siya sa 18. So kung 17.6 to, magiging 18 yung dito. Kasi wala namang 0.6 na VES. Now, yung pinakamalaking profit na ordered pair is 3, 17.5 or 3, 17 na $83. So ilang shirt invest kaya ang ima-manufacture if ganito ang condition? Sige nga, shirts and 17 vests. Sabi ni Eclavea. Very good. Sabi ni Sheila sa 3 and 17. Very good. Okay. So you get the point.
3 and 17, sir.
Okay, very good. Okay? Now, we're done maximizing the profit. Now, paano naman kung cost of production naman ang isolve natin? Ang gagamitin natin is yung Simplex Method. So, ano ba yung Simplex Method? So yung Simplex Method, guys, is ito. So, sa dami ng problems sa buong mundo when it comes to business or any problems that involves production, napaka-complex niya. And kung ipa-plot natin, ang dami niyang feasible region or ang dami niyang corner points. Okay? Okay? So, dito papasok yung Simplex Method. So, developed to help solve large real-world linear programming problems. So, for example, ant crawling on edges of the feasible region from corner to corner. So, kadami ba namang ants, isang colony, how would you locate kung ano yung best? Yung nag-crawl sa edges ng feasible region. So, anong point doon yung, kumbaga, maka-maximize ka sa value. Another example would be ant would do better even if given temperature range. So, for example, if ang scaling mo is 0.10, so sa kadami ba namang temperature range, na sa kadami ng ants, mahirapan ka. So, with Simplex Method, you start with any point and evaluate the profit at neighboring points. Move to the neighbor with a higher profit and repeat. Okay? So how do we do that? Let's have an example. So ito, makinig talaga. Medyo mahirap to. So a supermarket store gets bread delivered from a bakery chain. So kumbaga, need supplyan ang market ng bread every day. So, umorder sila sa isang bakery chain or isang bakery company. So, may mga branches siya. Let's assume na 3. May 3 stores at may 3 bakery chain. So, each store, kailangan, may demand sila, kumbaga, may kailangan silang number of units of bread every day. And yung bakery naman, bakery chain, meron lang silang specific na number of bread units. So, kung gano'ng kadami, yung 1 unit, lagay natin sa isang unit is 100 pieces of bread, so on and so forth. No? Meron silang capacity. So, ito lang yung kaya namin i-produce per day. No? Pwedeng 4 units, 3 units, kahit ano. So, this includes the shipping cost, yung pag-transport. So, how would you, so for example, there are multiple stores, how would you, o saan ka o-order na makaka-minimize ka sa shipping fee? Sa shipping fee. Okay?
Sa mas malapit.
Correct. Yung sa mas malapit. Now, let's see. Let's have this example. Diba? Kung mas malapit, mas mababa yung shipping fee. So, in this table above shows the various shipping costs from bakery. So, ito yun. Okay, so yung mga shipping costs, ito. 8, 9, 3, so on and so forth. So kung si store 1, ito yung mga stores, guys. Ito yung store 1, store 2, and store 3. Ito yung demand nila. So, ito yung kailangan ni store 1, 3 units of bread. Si S2, 7 units. Si S3 is 1 unit. While yung B1 naman, yung bakery 1, ito yung kaya niyang isupply per day. 8 units. Yung B2 is 1 unit. And bakery 3 is 2 units. Now, if o-order si bakery, si store 1 kay bakery 1, magde-deliver siya ng 3 units of bread, it would cost store 1 8 units. Pag si S1 naman o-order kay bakery 2, 15 units ang mahal. Pag sa bakery 3 naman siya o-order, 1 unit lang. Pero ang problem, guys, is ang kaya lang ni bakery 3 is 2. Tama? 2 units. Ang kailangan niya is 3. So, if mag-order siya ng 2 units dito, yung 1 unit, saan niya i-order? It could be sa bakery 1 kasi ito yung second na pinakamababa. So on and so forth. So you get the point. So gagawa ka ng paraan kung saan o-order per store, saan sila o-order kung saan makakatipid sila sa shipping fee. So to find the optimal solution, we first create a tableau. So a tableau is a special table showing the cost, the rim conditions, which are the supply and demand for transportation problems. So di ba kanina nag-maximize tayo ng profit. Now, we will minimize the cost. No? Okay. Now, let's proceed. No? Let's proceed to the next slide. So ito yung tableau or yung table na na-create. That's how you create a tableau. So paano ba yan, sir? So let's explain it, yung parts niya. Explain natin yung mga parts. Now, this is store 1, store 2, and store 3. So yung ang alternate nila, kumbaga yung demand nila, yung kailangan nilang bread per day, ito. Demand. Store 2, 7. Store 3 is 1. Yung bakery naman, kung ilan lang yung kaya nilang i-produce per day, 8 units. Sa bakery ito, isa lang. Ito, 2. So from that, you can say that ang kayang ibigay or i-supply ni Bakery 1 sa each of the store every day on this cell, kung order sila kay Bakery 1 is 8. Maximum yan. Dito 1 ang maximum, dito 2 is maximum. Okay. So isa-isay natin yung ibang parts na hindi nabanggit. Now, ito naka-box na numbers, ito yung shipping cost. If you remember kanina, ito, 8, 9, 3, 15. Yan yung shipping cost. So, kung si S1 order kay Bakery 1, 8. Okay? That's the shipping cost. Na itong rim condition, kumbaga, ito yung mga supply ng bakery. This is the supply. And this is the demand of the store. Ito naman, dapat mag-equal yung supply and demand. So, 8 plus 1 plus 2. Dapat, of course, no, suffice lang or tama lang yung supply. No? So, in this case, equal ang number of supply and demand. Okay, okay lang na mag-sobra yung supply, but it's a problem if kulang ang supply, mataas ang demand. So, magkakaroon ng scarcity. So, in this case, equal lang ang bilang nila or ang number of units. So, 11 sa supply, 11 din sa demand. Okay? Okay. Now, from that, no? Lang? Anong oras na ba? 12 na. 10 minutes na lang. So, from that, ano naman tong nasa loob? Ito yung ilang breads ang i-deliver ng bakery towards the store. So, ilan ang kukunin ni store 1 kay bakery 1 or kay bakery 2, so on and so forth. So, gagamitin natin yung northwest corner rule. Huwag na natin basahin to, medyo mahirap. So, let's take this into action agad. So, ito yung tableau kanina, di ba? Ito yung pag-solve. Madali lang. So, first is locate the highest leftmost cell and fill with the smallest rim value. What do you mean by that? So focus tayo dito guys. Ito. Yung number of breads na kailangan i-deliver ng bakery per store para makatipid sila ng transpo. But on this case, itong Tableau method, sagutin muna natin kung ano yung kailangan nila. Sa demand muna tayo mag-focus. Huwag muna natin i-focus yung transportation cost mamaya na after this. If we distribute it well. Now, sabi dito, highest and leftmost. So ito yung column for left. Ito yung column for middle. This is for right. So sabi leftmost cell. So ito yung column. Then highest. In terms of position, sino yung highest? Yung may value na or transportation value na
15.
Ito. Diba?
8 pala.
Ito. Then, fill in with the smallest rim value. So, ang rim value, di ba, ang rim condition ito, supply and demand. So, kung ano yung ka-align ng cell na to. So, ang ka-align niya sa supply, ito si 8. Ang ka-align niya sa demand is si 3. Then, kung sino yung mas smallest, yun yung ilagay dito. Sino mas smallest? Si 3 or si
3.
8? 3. So, anong ilagay dito?
Number 3.
Correct. Number 3. 3 ang ilagay. After choosing 3, what's the second step? Decrement the other value. 'Di ba? Yung hindi napili, guys, 'di ba? Ang napili is 3. Nilagay siya dito. So kung anong value ni S ngayon or ni S1, in this case S, isa-subtract siya sa hindi napili. So what happens with 8? Ano kaya mangyari kay 8? I-subtract mo daw siya sa yung napili. Anong mangyayari? What will be the value? So, 8 minus 3 is?
5.
5. Magiging 5 siya. Yan. Okay na tayo dito. Okay na tayo. Let's go with the third step. Eliminate the row and column associated. What do you mean by that? Associated with S. So, yung associated with S, guys, ito yung kanina. So, ano yung ito 'di ba yung nilagay natin ng value? Ano yung associated value? Rim value or row, sorry. Associated column and row. Now, from that, guys, you remember sino ang nabawasan? Si supply na side, itong dito or itong demand?
I-supply.
Yung supply. So kung sino yung kung sino yung nabawasan, guys, kung sino yung nabawasan, yun yung i-retain, hindi yun i-eliminate or i-set aside. So kumbaga opposite nun. So ang column ang i-eliminate kasi hindi siya nabawasan. Kung sino yung napili at sino yung hindi nabawasan na rim condition, yun yung tanggalin. Okay? So i-repeat lang natin to na process until ang matira ito. May value na lahat. Gets nyo? So, balik na naman. So, as you can see, natanggal yung S1, 8, 15, 1, and 3. So, tinanggal yung column talaga. Now, balik na naman tayo. Locate the leftmost and highest cell. So, left and right. So, ito. Tama? Then, ito yan. So, okay na to. Next is fill with the smallest rim value. So, ano yung rim value na katapat niya in terms of row? Ito. Sa column naman, ito. So, sino mas maliit?
5.
5. So, anong ilagay dito?
5.
5. So, 5 ang ilagay dyan. Yan. Now, after that, okay na to. Decrement the other rim. Sino yung hindi napili? Si 7 or si 5?
7.
So, sino ang babawasan sa kanila?
7.
Si 7. Anong mangyari kay 7?
Magiging 2.
Very good. Magiging 2. Now, okay na to. Yung third step, eliminate the row or column. Okay, associated with S. So, ang column na associated with S, ito. Ang row na associated with S is ito. Sino ang i-eliminate? Si row o si column?
Si row.
Correct. Kasi siya ang hindi nabawasan. So, yung hindi nagalaw ang value, yun yung i-eliminate. So, tanggalin si row. Ito. Tanggal na siya. Ulit na naman. So, ang leftmost, left, right, highest value is this one. Then, compare the value. Anong ilagay dyan?
2. 1.
2.
1. Smallest tama? Nakalimutan niya yung process.
Yes.
Okay. So, i-compare mo yung rim value associated with this. Diba? Then, kung sino yung mas maliit, yun yung ilagay. Then, kung sino yung hindi napili, yun yung babawasan kung ano yung napili. So, sino yung babawasan? Si 2 or si 1?
2.
Si 2. Ano
Si
mangyari
2.
kay 2?
Magiging 1.
Very good. Magiging 1. Hindi lang nalagay ni sir. Yan. So, magiging 1. Tama? So, sino ang eliminate natin? Si column or si row?
0.
Bakit?
Kasi siya po ang hindi ginalaw.
Correct. So, kuha nyo na. Tanggal. So, again, left. Ito na naman natirang left So, ito may 2 pa to dito So, anong ilagay dyan? C2 or C1?
Si 1.
Correct. Then, sino ang bawasan ng value? Si 2 or si 1?
Si 2.
Si 2.
Si 2.
Ano mangyari kay 2?
1.
Magiging 1.
Very good. Magiging 1. Then, sinong tatanggalin? Si row or si column?
Si column.
Kasi, siya
ang ginalaw.
Siya lang ang hindi nagalaw. Siya lang ang hindi nagalaw. Kasi ito nabawasan to. Tama? 2 kanina Siya lang yung hindi nagalaw. Okay. So, tanggal na naman yan. Now, obviously, ito 1 na. No need to eliminate. Yan na yung last. 1, 1 yan. So, this is the final tableau. So, if we add this, sa store 2, di ba, ang kailangan niya is 7. If we add this, 5 plus 1 plus 1 is 7. Ito 3, ito 1. So, ang problema nito sa northeast corner, northeast ba yun?
Northwest.
Northwest. Northwest corner rule, hindi kinonsider yung shipping cost. Balikan natin, bakit hindi kinonsider? Tingnan niyo yung S3. Umorder siya ng 1 unit of bread, pero yung cost is 5. Dapat dito siya nag-order. Tama? Okay. So, parang sungka to, guys. Itra-transfer mo pa clockwise yung bread na dapat nag-follow siya sa demand, no? Na hindi malulugi yung store sa transportation fee. Gets nyo? Okay. How would we do that? By using the indicator values. So, ano yung indicator value? So, extend lang tayo siguro mga 5 minutes kasi medyo mahirap ito. Now, ang indicator value for a cell is not filled in. Kumbaga yung mga empty cell na dapat lagyan, no? Is the cost change associated with increasing and decreasing amounts shipped in a circuit of cells starting from the empty cell. So mag-start tayo dito sa nalugi, S3. So dapat dito siya magkuha ng bread. Pero dito siya kumuha. The logic is, ito babawasan ko ng isa. 'Di ba, ang maximum na pwedeng i-deliver sa cell na ito is 8, 'di ba? Yun yung kaya ni bakery. Pero ang ibabawas ko dito 1 kasi ang kailangan na ni S3 is 1. Gets nyo? Then ito, kung i-add natin, magiging 2. So, hindi pwede. So, dapat i-transfer din natin to. Parang sungka lang if you know that game. Okay?
Opo.
Okay. Very good. Now, let's proceed. Paano ba i-check, sir? Paano ba i-check kung gagalawin namin itong mga numbers na ito? You will use this method. Gagawa kayo ng rectangle kung saan yung affected. Ito, gagawa kayo ng point dito, then i-connect mo yung katabi niyang cell. Then from that, ito yung apektado, tama, dapat dito siya maglagay. I-connect mo siya sa nilagyan mo na mali. Then, katabi niyang cell, then connect mo dito. So, nakagawa ka ng rectangle, right? Okay. Always remember, yung empty cell, yung corner niya, yung corner ng rectangle, always positive. So, kumbaga, dyan nakabase yung sign ng cost ng transportation. So, positive ang empty cell. Then, ang opposite corner niya is, kung ano ang opposite na sign niya. So, ang opposite ng positive is negative. Then, ang opposite corner niya ito. So, ang opposite ng negative magiging positive. Then, ito magiging negative. Kuha? Kuha?
Yes po.
Kuha.
Yes po.
Okay, madali pa yun. So, ito, testing lang to. Kung negative ang move, ang result, meaning, kailangan mo talagang i-move to. Itong mga values dito. Clockwise. Okay? Now, tingnan natin kung sino ang nag-positive. Ang nag-positive sa transportation is si 3. Ang negative dito is 9. So, unahin natin yung positive pagsulat. 3. Then, sorry, yellow gamitin pa. 3. Then, subtract mo siya sa negative, which is 9. Then, i-add mo siya sa corners dito. Same process. So, sino yung positive dito? Si 3. Lagay mo dyan. Then, minus mo siya sa negative ang transpo, which is 5. So, that is negative 6. So, 3 minus 5 is negative 6 plus negative 2. 3 minus 5 is negative 2. That is negative 8. So, pag negative ang result, mag-move ka talaga. Pero pag positive, no need to move. Tama na yung answer mo. Okay, so ano ang gawin ko? Babawasan ko to ng isa, magiging 4 to. Ito, magiging 1. Then ito, transfer ko dito, magiging 2. So what would it look like this? So if we add this, 4 plus 1 plus 2, 7 pa rin. Ito, 1. Ito, 3. So are we done? Tingnan natin. Are we done? No, not yet. Tingnan mo si S1. Si S1 na naman ang nalugi sa transpo. Tingnan yung mabuti. Si S1, 3 units ang dapat niyang i-order ng bread. Ang problema, umorder siya sa, ang cost is 8. Okay, pwede naman siyang umorder dito. Pero ang capacity ni Baker 3 is 2 lang. So, pwede siyang umorder ng 2 dito. Then, yung isa is, lagay niya dito. Tama? Kasi yan yung second na pinakamababa yung shipment. Kasi hindi ka naman pwedeng pumilit kay Baker 3 kasi yan lang yung kaya nilang i-produce everyday. So, pwede kang kumuha kay Baker 1 or 2. So, kay Baker 2, hindi tayo kukuha dyan. Lugi 15 ang mahal. So, from that, pwede kong i-transfer to dito, lahat. So, 2 na to dito, 2 na to dito. So, if you add that, that is 5. So, sobra. So, babawasan natin to ng 2. Magiging 1. So, 2 plus 1 is 3. Then, yung 2 sobra, lipat natin dito. Magiging 6 na ito. So, if we add this, 6 plus 1 is equals to 7. Wala na tong value dito. So, sir, i-check din ba? Gagawa ka din ng rectangle dito sa kabilang side. Di ba gumawa tayo ng rectangle dito to check kung mag-move pa? Yes. Yan. Gagawa tayo ng rectangle. So, same pa rin yung empty cell, yung may problema na gusto mong lagyan ng number of bread is positive. Yung opposite corner niya is negative. Opposite corner niya is positive. Then, ang opposite corner niya is negative. Same process. So, start tayo sa points dito. So, ang positive dito is si 1. So, unahin siyang isulat. Okay? Gawin natin yellow para makita. So, 1, positive siya kasi siya ang una isulat. Then, subtract with the negative transportation cost. That is 3. Plus, yung itong corners na ito. So, ang positive dito is si 9. So, 9 minus 8. So, 1 minus 3 is negative 2 plus 9 minus 8 is positive 1. This is negative 1. So, we need to transport or to transfer itong 2 na ito. So, it would look like this. So, if we add this is 3. We add this is 7. So, as you can see, hindi nalugi masyado yung store 2. In order na lang niya lahat dito by order. Then, umorder siya ng 1 dito. Imbes na meron pa dito, no, 2 units na 3, tinanggal na. So, ito na lang yung mag-deliver sa kanya. Sir, paano ba i-test kung tama na yung ginawa namin? So, gawa ka na naman ulit ng rectangle. Same position ito. Pero iba na ang sign kasi ito ng empty cell, tama? Okay? So, ito ang positive. Ang opposite niya is negative, positive, negative. Okay, so start tayo dito. So, ang positive dyan is 9 minus 3 plus this corner. Dapat yellow pala ginamit ko. So, the other corner, ito, Ang positive dyan is 5 minus 3. So that is 6 plus 2. That is positive 8. So okay na dito na side. Okay na. Okay na dyan. So how about yung kabilang side? So repeat lang natin yung rectangle. So di ba dito natin yung pinosisyon. Okay? So that is, yung empty cell again is positive always. Then ang opposite side niya is negative. Ang opposite side niya dito is positive, negative. Okay? So if we solve that, dapat positive. So ito, start tayo dito. So that is, ang positive is 3 minus a negative na 1 plus. Dito ang positive is 8. 8 minus 9. So that is positive 2 plus 8 minus 9 is what? Negative 1. So 2 plus negative 1 is ilan? Positive 1. So okay na yung solution mo. Positive na siya all over.